Glad you've joined in because I've got something wonderful to share with you today. This is fairly short today, but stay tuned. Listen right through to the end because this is not only truth that's going to thrill you, but truth that will give you motivation in life and truth that will just, well, make you something useful for God. And so, thanks for tuning in. Jesus was walking along one day. We read about this in Matthew chapter 9. And he came to a table where there's a man called Matthew. And well, we're going to read about it here. And as Jesus passed forth from thence, he saw a man named Matthew sitting at the receipt of custom. In other words, he had the receipt book and the tax book, and he was collecting the taxes from the people. And he said unto him, Follow me. And guess what Matthew did? He just got up from his table and he followed Jesus. And I just think, well, why wouldn't he? Now, I don't know just what all Matthew knew about Jesus as he came in front of his table and said, Please follow me. But maybe he'd heard about him and maybe he had known of all the great miracles that he did and how that he could just go to somebody that was a leper and he didn't have to touch the person, but he could touch the leper and the leprosy was gone. He could go to somebody who was dead and raise them from the dead. He could go to a man that was blind and just speak a word or touch him, and his eyes were clean and his eyes would see again. And there was no limit to what Jesus could do and no limit to what Jesus can do today. That's just what I love about him. And Matthew, well, maybe he knew a little bit of that. And when Jesus came along and said, Follow me, he likely couldn't believe his ears. He's likely thinking, What in the world is this man who is so great? God's Son from heaven, the actual creator of heaven and earth and all this universe. And he's standing just a few feet from me and he is saying, Follow me. Can you blame Matthew from getting up from his table and following Jesus? That's what it says. And he arose and followed him. I don't know what he did with the money. Maybe he had a buddy that was working with him and he said, Hey, you just keep this money, take it to the governor, but I'm done with it. I'm never going to be sitting at this table again because I want to follow Jesus Christ. What a wonderful, wonderful privilege he had. Oh, and folks, before I go any further, I can't leave this point without just telling you something. The privilege that Matthew had that day is the exact same opportunity and privilege that I have and that you have to follow Jesus. No, he's not down here on earth, but he's up in heaven. He's with us in spirit, and he's with us with his love, and he's got a great plan for you. And maybe I'm talking to a Christian today, I don't know, wherever you might be, and you have heard him call you before, maybe to go and do some little job for him, just whatever it might be. And he said, and you've heard it very clearly through his word, Follow me. And to this point in your life, you've said, I don't think so. I'm just going to hang on to what I got. I'm pretty safe and secure right where I am. So I'm not going to follow you just yet, Lord, but maybe when I get a bit older. But Matthew, he didn't wait until tomorrow. He didn't wait until a better opportunity. He might only had this one opportunity. And he said, I'm going to take advantage of it. And he arose and followed Jesus. What a wise man. And you know, wise people still follow the Lord Jesus. And I hope you're one of them. But you know, there's something great. And that's enough in itself to think that Jesus wants us to follow him. But listen to this. This is awesome. You know, just not too long after that, there's along comes a man, and he was quite an important guy in the community. And it says here in verse 18 of Matthew 19, and while he spake these things unto them, behold, there came a certain ruler and worshipped him, saying, My daughter is even now dead, but come and lay thy hand upon her, and she shall live. You see, this man knew about Jesus. This man knew there's no limit to what he would do. And this is what just blows me right away. Just it's one of these wow verses. Verse 19. And Jesus arose. I wish I could just show you I show you the word here in my Bible, but here it is. And Jesus arose and followed him, and so did his disciples. And then it says, when Jesus came to the ruler's house and saw the minstrels and the people making noise, he said unto them, Give place, for the maid is not dead, but sleepeth. In other words, there's a crowd of people around. Likely, even there's people mourning already and thinking, oh, the little girl is dead. And he basically said, hey, please make room for me. I got to get through here. I got an important job to do with this little girl that you think is dead. And the people got out of the way. They laughed at him. But, wasn't long after, and the little girl came out of the house. She was alive. But before it got to the house, it says, and Jesus arose and followed the man. So we read about two things here in this chapter, didn't we? We read that Matthew followed Jesus. And I just can't understand this, but it's true. That Jesus has enough interest in every individual, even today, just like he did 2,000 years ago. He's got enough interest to do with you, just like he did with this man. When this man came and spilled his heart and told him all his trouble, it says, and Jesus arose and followed him. One man followed Jesus. The other man was followed by Jesus. And Jesus went right to his house. Have you got some problem going on in your life today? Some heavy heart? Something that you just can't handle? Well, guess what? We've got somebody who's got a great interest in you. Hi, folks. Enjoy the walk. His name is Jesus. And he wants to go right to where your house is, right to where your problem is. And he wants to be your friend. And he will follow you. So invite him. He has said, come unto me, all you that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. And just like this man went to him and told him his trouble, so you can. Got a heavy heart? Somebody sick in your house? Are things just going really, really bad? Well, guess what? You tell Jesus, and he will do with you like he did with this man. And Jesus followed him. So this is the little story today on Truth for Me. Feel free to share it with anybody. One man that followed Jesus, and the other man who Jesus followed. I hope that you will follow Jesus. And I know that Jesus